I'm Karen.
I'm Gavin.
And we've been together for 10 years and a couple months. And we've been married for almost 6 years. I'm from California, and Gavin is from London. In it, bruv. Ma brava.
10 years I've been putting up with this.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's about 6,000 miles.
Several thousand miles distance, and we did the long distance relationship for 4 years, almost 4.5 years, something like that, before we finally moved in together. Where you moved here.
Yeah.
We live in California now. I stole him away. I imported him because I like imported goods. They're imported goods. So
we'll talk a bit about how we met and the challenges of the relationship and how we made it work, and because you hear a lot of people meeting online now, and a lot of people have reservations about it.
It wasn't so scary back then. Back in the day.
Because it was a long time ago. It was 2007. We met on MySpace.
Classy. Not like eHarmony or anything. So I found this guy. And I thought he was kind of cute. And so I messaged him. And the rest is history. The end. Ta-da!
Yeah, she sent me a message. I figured that she would speak to me for 2 days and then that would be the end of it. So, as she was American, I decided to advocate communism. You should know they hate that. And she realised I was joking, it was very funny, and we spoke every day for a long, long time after that.
Gavin, it was just kind of like fun at first, but I think I kind of liked you pretty quickly.
Yeah, there was definitely a connection.
A love connection. The first time we met, we had been talking for a few months, 3-4 months, and we finally.
Your trip to England happened.
Yeah, I was gonna go visit England in May, and we started talking in February. So we've been chatting for a few months before I brought up the idea, like, do you want to come up to Northern England and visit me when I come, to England for a few weeks? And I think it wasn't an immediate yes. I don't think it was. I think you had to think about it, didn't you?
It's a long way to drive.
And yeah, meeting someone on the internet is kind of scary.
Yeah.
A lot of your friends were telling you don't do it. She's just gonna bail.
One of my friends told me that I shouldn't do it because you wouldn't turn up anyway, because that's what happened to him with someone you got on the internet. We've been making you eat those words for 10 years.
That's the only reason we're still together, is just to prove people wrong, because everyone said long distance wouldn't work. So he came up to meet me, and I think that first trip was great.
Yeah, I mean,
it was really nice.
That is your first, your first big kind of milestone is when you first meet, because you have no idea whether you've got the
love connection.
We've been over this before, but whether you've got any chemistry, and you could be talking to someone and get on really great, and when you meet them in person, there's no spark, and that's the end of it.
But there was.
There was a spark.
And it was kind of sad because we knew that we only had a couple days together. I think it was like 2 days or 3 days. You weren't there for very long. And he had to go back home, and then before too long I had to go back to America. It was a really long time before any of us were able to travel again. I think it was when I went that winter, and I was working part-time. I was going to college. It was difficult for me to save up money, but I did make it work, and I went over there again, and we just kind of took turns going back and forth.
We went back and forth over those 4 years about 11 times.
We didn't want to go too long without visiting each other, and so a lot of our trips were only like 3 months apart. Or it was 3 or 4 months apart.
We got into a routine.
And I think that was really big because we had a plan. Like, the hard part is when you separate and you don't know, like, when you're going to see the other person again. Is it going to be several months? Is it going to be a year? And so we liked to have the next trip already, like, lined up so that when we had to say goodbye, we already knew when we'd be seeing each other again. It kind of made it easier.
The distance in a relationship is really important, because people have come up to me and said, I've met this person, it's long distance, have you got any tips? And I'll tell them some things, and I say, how far away? And they say they live 25 miles away. And there was some scoffing, some laughing about time zones. And it turns out really that if you meet someone who lives a short distance away, and that 25, 50 miles maybe, you don't have the you don't need to, make a commitment to, for someone to move. When it's a really long distance, sooner or later, someone's going to have to move. And if you're going to make it work, so ahead of time, someone's going to make that commitment, and I think you're kind of aware of it. Whereas if it's a shorter distance, you can not, neither of you have to do that, and you can make it work. And I think those ones are the ones that are less successful, because you can make it work until it's not really, not really worth it anymore. If you meet somewhere else, or you get tired of driving, or your car can't make the trip anymore. You've got that out there. But when it's a different country, if you're going to be together, sooner or later, someone's going to have to sell their house.
For the first few years of our relationship, I was trying to move over there to study, and getting into the colleges over there was really challenging.
Well,
so we gave up on that after a little while.
You have to weigh up the options, and for us, Karen's education, which she would have had to have paid for to finish in the UK because she wasn't a EU citizen, would have been, really expensive.
And I would have had to have been a great student, and I'll be honest, I wasn't a spectacular student at the time.
And then the other thing was the house prices in the United Kingdom, which are really, really high, and they have been, for a long time.
And it's so little space, because you were looking at houses, you were going to move out.
Yeah, I was going to have to move out of London because I couldn't afford anything there. And
so we were looking at houses there. So we started looking at houses here. And I think that's when we realized we could get such a better place here in California. And I could finish my education. And I think that's kind of when we decided. You could probably do a whole video just on what it was like to get the fiancé visa and become a permanent resident.
I probably could do. So we'll skip over that for now.
Yeah. So we had a month and a week to live together before we got married, and it was really small and adorable and romantic.
And it was an interesting stage for us, and going through the whole thing. And then even once I got over here, I couldn't work for several months, so I stayed at home, which was strange because I'd been working solidly for a long time. So
but it didn't take long for you to get a work permit, and then
a job,
and then the whole green card, permanent resident stuff. So we got married in summer of 2011, and that was kind of it for a while. And then we decided, when I say we, I decided I wanted babies because they're adorable and I want 1 million of them. And so we had our first child August of 2013, and then our second child in April of 2015, and our third child in December of 2016. And that's good for now.
That's good.
I mean, I think I count us as a successful long-distance relationship.
Definitely, I think we do.
I mean, do you really count it until they die together? Old. You'll die first, because he's 9 years older than me. You'll die first.
I intend to live forever, thank you very much.
All right, sure.
The commitment thing, you're committed to the, making those sacrifices so that you can be together, which we've done. And
you have to know it's worth it. Like in those moments when you could just give up, you have to think about like how much you've invested, money really, and time, and what you want out of it. Like we get along so great that it's worth kind of fighting for, because the frustrating moments they're few and far between. They're more common now that we have kids.
You could meet the person you're meant to be with anywhere, and it could be someone you meet on the internet, it could be someone you meet in the supermarket, it could be,
someone you meet on MySpace.
You could crash into their car and your eyes meet across the steam from the radiators, and unlikely.
And the cars explode.
Yeah.
Killing
beautiful,
you both.
Obviously. But you can meet in any situation, and you can't put a stigma on meeting online because you think that the person could be a weirdo, because you can meet weirdos anywhere. My father said to me after we started dating, he said, "Can you meet a nice girl locally?" And I said, "Well, I tried that; it didn't work."
I also couldn't meet a nice girl locally.
Now with the technology, you can talk, all the time, and you get to know each other, and you develop kind of an emotional relationship, at a pretty good rate, because the emotional stuff is, because it's all you have. You don't have any.
It's easy to connect with people. It's
Yeah.
easy to talk to people. I don't know how I mean, we had MSN.
Yeah.
We didn't really have Skype until the very end of the relationship. We had MSN, video messenger, and chat for a long time, but that's still pretty modern. Like, I can't imagine
Yeah,
how people
I
did
mean,
it
people used to do
with
it
like
with letters
pen
and
pals
stuff,
and
yeah.
old school with this pen and paper. How did people do that? Tablets, etching it. I don't know how people.
I'd like to send a telegram. So obviously we have, you have this connection. You're talking every day. You get to, someone. You really have this strong feeling for them, and you really care about them, and that's great. And then you spend time together, and then you realise one of the biggest hurdles of a long distance relationship is that various facets of your relationship don't develop at the same speed.
Well, like when you talk to people, you get to know what they think about things and how they feel about things, but you don't realize the little annoying things that people do, just like how they clean up after themselves and how they sleep and how they eat and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's always little habits
That
you don't
takes
get.
adjusting.
You don't know if they're the kind of person, the kind of wretched scoundrel who'd leave the top off a toothpaste. When you're talking to someone online, you can always go away and you can do your own thing, whether that's, going out drinking or watching a TV show or just going away and doing your own thing.
You just have to realize that when you meet in person, there's more to it and that it's going to take some learning. There's a learning curve that's steeper in person. And a lot of people give up at that point.
Yeah, because what you have the emotional side of it where you know each other really well, you're completely on the same level, and then you have this physical side where it's as if you've just met.
I feel like this video is already half an hour long.
It probably is.
We should probably kind of wrap it up now.
Yeah, we should. So
So main points.
you have obviously you have to have the commitment to a very long distance
Commitment.
relationship. If it's only a short long distance, it's probably not going to work.
A short long distance, but not a long short distance.
Right. Okay. And you can meet weirdos anywhere.
You can meet 3 weirdos anywhere.
And you shouldn't.
Don't give up. That's it.
Yeah,
Don't give up.
not giving up is a big thing, and
People give up too easily. And they lived happily ever after.
we did live happily ever after. But yeah, so we went through the issues with the different facets of the relationship. We went through the communication issues and
we've come out stronger.
And yeah, we've done really well. And now we've been together constantly for the last 6 years. We've
Not constantly. I go out Wednesday nights to go tap dancing.
and we've got 3 lovely boys, and we thought we'd share a bit of this to you because I know a lot of people have asked.
What else do you want to say at the end to wrap it up?
How
How do you want to end it? You need like a catchphrase.
you want to end it?
No. I want to end that.
And on that bombshell, it's time to end. Good night.